Everybody, welcome to tonight's live webinar, How to Exploit the Big Players Buy and Sell Levels in 2025. I'm very excited to introduce your co-hosts, Trendy John McKeever and Melissa Beagle. John, a retired Air Force veteran and seasoned trading expert, is celebrated for his knack in predicting market moves using supply and demand. Melissa, who went from beginner to doubling her account 7 times with John's guidance, now brings dynamic insights to help you succeed. Tonight, they'll reveal how to outsmart market giants, harness volatility, and pinpoint key trading levels on any chart. Let's dive in and elevate our trading game. I believe everything is situated. And yep, John is sharing his screen right now. In case y'all can't see on the screen, we do have a fancy options trading disclosure. This is pretty standard fare for any options trading presentation, as tonight's is. However, please do take this seriously. Please do read, peruse, make sure you understand this. And that being said, let's go ahead and move on forward. I believe the stage is set, the floor is open, and all yours. Please take it away, Jonathan and Melissa.
Hey, thanks so much. Appreciate it, Daryl. Appreciate the introduction. And first of all, let's just do a mic check and make sure we're good to go. And if we are, if you guys could just go ahead and say, oh, all right, good deal. First of all, I want to thank everybody for being here. Always want to give thanks to Simpler for allowing me to be here to teach all of you. And most of all, for you to take away from your time today to show up here and give the attention that we're looking for from Melissa and I. So once again, guys, appreciate it so much. Let's go ahead and dive into our next slide here. All right, guys, this is what we're going to be covering today. Get to know us, Melissa and I, supply and demand basics, trade examples, finding your edge, and all new 2025 classes that I cannot wait to share with you. Remember, my entire focus tonight is to make sure that you understand that education is the key to success. And that is what we are going to be showing you at the end of our webinar today. So let me ask you guys a question. If you are struggling with consistency, planning your trades, execution, risk management, allocation, time management, transparency, and here, this last one I was just thinking about. If you're tired of not being in a winning trade, maybe you're losing more than you're winning, then this webinar is for you. I want to show you why we have the edge in the market. Melissa's going to tell you how she's grown her account 7 times since being here. And believe me, it was just 2.5 years ago that she was a student here at Trendy Trading and now at Simpler as a professional trader. And I'm so excited, not only for me to tell my background story, but for her to also share with you guys. Okay. So, who am I? I'm Jonathan McKeever, creator of the Trendy methodology, aka Trendy John. So, let me talk a little bit about that. Creator of the Trendy methodology. What that means is I take supply and demand and I studied it and then I created a process improvement, if you will. I've taken the same old school supply and demand and I've made it new. I made it robust and I made it easier for you to understand how to execute those trades and to be at a Zen-like state when taking those trades. So if you're looking for confidence and consistency, you're going to find it right here. I have 12 plus years of trading experience. I'm going to be honest with you guys. It doesn't matter if it's 5, 30, or 40. At the end of the day, what's most important is you. And I want to bring that confidence back to you. So if these market conditions that we're currently in, or even let's say the last 2 or 3 years of your trading career, you're looking for something that's going to give you an edge, supply and demand is going to do that. I'm also a retired Air Force veteran. You're probably asking yourself, what has that got to do with trading? And I'm going to tell you, it has a lot to do with trading. I'm going to teach you the process. Okay. I know this process. Melissa's going to teach you. But at the end of the day, you need a mentor who is going to lead by example. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk the talk. I'm going to walk the walk. I'm going to give you trade setups that I say, hey, if price gets there, we're taking it. I'm going to take that. I'm not going to back down. Again, I'm going to lead by example. And what's really important is I know how to serve those who are here for us. And you are my number one priority. I promise you that. So let's just get to the basics, okay? You're probably wondering, well, how have you done, John? So this is my P&L right here. This is from last year. So this is 2024 to the end of the year. Well, it's showing here in February of 2025. You guys can see that the P&L went from lower left to upper right, right? That's what we're all in search for. But it's not easy. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's not easy. When I first started out, the big thing that I was missing was education and supply and demand. And this year, this is what my PL looks like right now. And I'll tell you, I think that this year has not been the easiest markets to trade. But what I will say with confidence is that supply and demand has made it that much easier for me to navigate. So, what does trendy stand for? A lot of you might already know this, but I think it's really important so that you understand trendy is not just because, like, I want to wear fancy clothes or wear cool sunglasses or something like that. I actually got the name from the Air Force because I was always in charge of process improvements. I was known to take things and make them a lot easier for traders to understand and or for our employees to understand. Trendy, the T stands for trend, R stands for range, 3 to 1 stands for risk to reward, N stands for no news, no noise, no nonsense, all the things that kind of get in your way of executing that next perfect trade. And then D and N stand for demand and supply. And then we have Y as in you, because at the end of the day, once again, the process, it's easy for me to teach you. It's going to be easy for you to put these things together, but you is the most important part. And what I found is that a community is so important to the overall health and your success in the market. Okay. So we are focused on you all of the time. Set and forget type trades. That's what supply and demand does for you. It's great for full-time and part-time traders. Beach trade, pool trade, walk the dog trade, play with the kids trade. All those type of things are possible when you're able to identify where the bigger players are in the market. That allows you to execute with the big money, not with retail, not the retail mentality. Okay. So live your life between the stop and the target. What does that mean? I've been saying this for a very long period of time, guys. Um, the the two things that can happen are you can get stopped out or you can reach your profit. Okay. And I am going to show you how to do that and feel very zen state and able to take that trade from a demand zone all the way into a supply zone. And it's going to change the way that you think, and you will never, ever look at a chart the same again. Most of the time, we are finished by 10:30 in the morning. However, Melissa and I, we tend to be on the mic all day. We love to teach. We love to hang out with you guys. So again, you guys will see that. Melissa, before you introduce yourself, I always like to brag on Melissa because, as I said before, Melissa was a student about 2.5 years ago. She came to trendy trading before I was picked up from Simpler, and her story is amazing. I asked the room, and I remember I was trying to do this for like 2 or 3 years before I even met Melissa. I was like, "Hey guys, I created a journal room, and I want you to go in there, and I want you to share your trades." Well, it was always the same thing. You get like 1 or 2 people to go in there. They would share their trades until they lost a trade, and then they would disappear, right? But Melissa was different. I didn't know who she was, and she was so disciplined and so intricate about everything, every single detail. And I was like, man, this is impressive. But what I noticed about Melissa is that people tend to gravitate to her discipline because it is something that is super unique. And that discipline and her ability to stick to the process allowed her to grow her account 7 times. And you know what? She's here today. So now she's going to talk to you about herself and introduce herself.
Awesome. Thanks, John. Hey guys, so happy that you decided to join us on this Wednesday evening. We're not going to take up a bunch of your time, but yeah, John, I just want to say I am so thankful that you developed the trendy methodology because, as has been mentioned, it's allowed me to double my account 7 times since I've been trading supply and demand with the trendy methodology. So it's truly been life changing for my trading journey. My trading journey actually started over 25 years ago. I have always been interested in the stock market. And I started out just buying shares of companies and holding on to them and selling them and et cetera, et cetera. And then about just over 6 years ago, I had to find something to do from home. So I dove in and educated myself through online courses on how to trade options. And I did that for about 4 years. And then I stumbled upon, thank God, Trendy John as he was teaching at Simpler in the day trading room. And he mentioned the very first time I heard him, he said, I'm going to teach you how to trade using supply and demand. And I'm telling you guys, a light bulb went off because in economics class, we all learned about supply and demand. And I sat there and I was like, how did I never think of using supply and demand in my trading? It made complete sense to me, right? So I dove in to every educational piece I could find that Trendy John had put out there. And I was hooked from the first day. All right. I spent a weekend diving in, and then I went into his room and I sat quietly for about 2 weeks. And I was trading supply and demand, but not necessarily with all of the rules that he had taught. And I was winning, but I was also losing. And I found myself getting stopped out because I was using old disciplines that I had been taught in the past with different strategies. And I was like, dang, something's got to be, I'm missing something. And that's when John did that challenge about journaling your trades, staying disciplined for 30 days. And I was like, all right, I'm up for the challenge. I did that challenge, and in 30 days, I had more than doubled my account. Everything else is history. All right. It was the best thing that could have happened in my trading journey. I now trade strictly supply and demand. I use a very disciplined approach, and I am excited to help you learn how I have been able to double my account in 7 years. Because honestly, the most important thing to me is that I am able to share what I have learned and to help you become a more disciplined and consistently profitable trader.
Thanks, Mel. And you know what? I keep hearing a couple things. So you keep saying help. And that is the theme of tonight, guys. Like I said, we are going to offer 12 classes, and that is our focus. And Melissa has 6 classes that she wants to line up. I have 6 that I want to line up, and that's exactly what it's going to do. Listen, we have state of the art alerts, we have API alerts. A lot of you guys already know that. We are leading the industry in that. That means that our alerts come straight from our API, straight to you guys in milliseconds. So it's cool. Alerts are fun. Don't get me wrong, but you need to learn how to fish, and that's what our goal is. So, what is supply and demand? So, I'm going to read a couple things to you. It's the foundation of the market movement based on the economic principle of supply and demand. Supply areas are where sellers are overwhelming buyers and price drops. Demand areas are where buyers outpace sellers, price rises. We identify key zones, basically big buy blocks in the market by using structure. Okay. And I like to always demonstrate by showing you a whiteboard. On all of our charts, most of our charts, you're going to find a demand zone, which is going to be green. Then you're going to find a supply zone, which is red. Remember, green zones are where we want to buy, Red zones are where we want to trim, pull those stops up, and or to get short in the market. Again, we are identifying this by using structure, something we're going to teach you in March on that Saturday class, which is about 3 to 4 hours of great, awesome work that you are going to learn how to do this on your own. You don't need an indicator. But listen to me, if you found yourself ever getting into a trade, say about right here in the market, and then maybe perhaps prices fell to the downside into a demand zone. This was me, I promise you, just years ago. Not every single trade. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that all my trades didn't work out. But there's a lot of times where I felt that I was letting go of positions just to watch price move to the upside. And then once I got the courage to get back into the trade after getting stopped out, that's about the time that I would notice that the market would then sell off a little bit more. Now, how many of you have found yourself in this position? I would imagine lots of you have found yourself in that position. Matter of fact, you don't have to say so. I've been asking the same question for many years, and I know what it feels like to get discouraged. I know what it feels like to FOMO into trades. Then what you do is not only do you get stopped out twice here, maybe even once, just to watch price move up to perhaps where you wanted to see, yourself take profits. That's very, very discouraging. And it could be that you did the exact opposite. Maybe you went short here and then price rose into a supply zone, right? And then you got out of your short just to watch price move to the downside. The edge in the market, identifying the big players. We're talking institutional buys and sells. We're not talking about Joe Schmo. We're not talking about the retail trader who's FOMOing you into a trade. If you find yourself in these predicaments where you're getting out of trades just to watch price turn, I'm going to show you how to identify these levels, align yourself so that now you can feel a lot more confident about taking your trades. And let me tell you something, the new you is going to be completely different. You're going to be able to identify these zones. And the awesome thing about supply and demand is that this works on all time frames and in all market conditions. You'll always hear something different. Hey, so and so is the POTUS now. That's the president of the United States. Things are going to change. But the truth of the matter is, it's all noise to push price to supply and demand. The new you will identify these levels in advance. You'll be patient and you will wait for prices to hit levels. And then Melissa and I, our job is to teach you how to take these zones with confidence, whether we accumulate in them or we look for particular small signals to get long or short. You will feel more confident in taking this trade to the upside, not getting stopped out to watch price move, understanding where you want to take that trim. Maybe there's a small pullback. This is by design. And then prices pushing up into your take profit levels. I can't wait to show you some of the trade examples a little bit later. But remember, identifying and being on the same side of big money is one thing to find it on the charts. I'll do that with you. But there's a whole psychology part to this. And this is why Melissa and I spend so much time on the mic reinforcing this type of information to our students. And, by the end of the day, folks, not only do we have one of the most robust rooms here at Simpler, one of the most popular rooms, one of the biggest robust rooms that continues to be with us is because we lead by example and we have proof of concept. And we showed you that in the beginning here. So why do you use this? I feel like I'm explaining that very thoroughly. It gives you an edge in the market. It simplifies market analysis. There's no complex indicators needed. But I want to be very honest with you guys. I have indicators. You know that a lot of you are probably have been students of Simpler, or maybe you're looking to come back in those type of things, or maybe you're looking for that edge. I do have indicators, but we're going to teach you how to find this stuff without indicators. If you want indicators, look, the things will prove themselves. And if you want something that gives you that quick access to finding supply and demand, we'll have that for you. But you don't need to worry about that right now. Pinpoints high probability trades. I don't know about you, but I don't want to line myself up with somebody over in, that's on X or in a Discord room. I want to line myself up with the big guys, the guys sitting in Chicago, New York, the big money. And this is the advantage that it gives you. And again, guys, it works across all market, and to include crypto, futures, options, leap type trades, selling credit, selling naked, doing equity. I do all of that. And I'm going to show you some of those examples here shortly. It's built on, as Melissa was saying, on a timeless principle of how markets function. Supply and demand rules the world, and it's no different on a chart. And it's kind of a beautiful thing that you can find it in the charts. So the trendy definition of supply and demand: price, not volume, balance versus imbalance. Let me go ahead and show you what that means really quick. So again, what we're looking for is structure. When prices come down into structure, they create this buy block type formation in here. And we identify this by calling it demand and supply. Okay. So again, we're identifying this and we are aligning ourselves with the volume in the market. Okay. Now, when a catalyst comes out, let's say it's FOMC, let's say it's earnings, let's say that there's a tweet sent off by the POTUS, it creates an imbalance in the market. What an imbalance means is that price shot up so quickly, and I'm sure you guys have seen this before. Price shoots up so quickly that you're not able to get into this trade, and you sit and you hope, you cross your fingers, and you're like, man, I'll get in this trade when price pulls back. But sometimes price doesn't pull back. I don't know about you guys, but I want to be there before that happens. And I want to take advantage of the move and not be the trader who comes in after a gap up of 40 points and thinks, well, how do I get into this trade? And that's one advantage I'll tell you that the trendy room that we always tend to be in is that we're already there and we're already trimming and or taking our profits when most traders are trying to find the next clue to get into a trade. So A plus B equals volume, not volume equals A plus B. This is a definition that I made up years ago, and I love talking about this. Have you ever been in the situation where, let's say, I don't know, let's say the market is really moving very, very well. All right, you're seeing this type of movement. I can't tell you how many times I've been in a community and the market's like ripping to the upside, and nobody happens to be in the trade. One, because they were unable to identify, they didn't understand where demand was. That's okay. I understand that, but now you're going to learn. The second thing is you'll have some mentors and or some services that you've been to where they keep telling you there's no volume. And I can't tell you how disappointing it feels when somebody's telling you that there's no volume or that they need more things to align before they get in a trade. And all you really do at the end of the day is just continue to watch price either move to the upside or move to the downside. I want to teach you how to make and take action in the market. And that's exactly what we do with supply and demand. So again, guys, it's valid in all market conditions. The proof of concept is when I go back and I'm charting back since the inception of the market. And one example I like to do, this is actually out on my YouTube channel, and this is J&J. And I went back and this is a video that I would encourage you guys to watch, but I went back since the inception of J&J. And I showed how if you were just to identify the structure, which is really easy to do, and waited for price to get back there, you would be profitable every single time taking these demand zones. Now, I encourage you when you get into the room and you're with us, ask me to look at any chart and I'll show you the proof of concept. It's not hindsight. It's a beautiful thing that you can put towards your next trade. Speaking of trades, I'm going to show you some examples, and these are from this year, folks. All right. So it's not like, these I looked in a black book and tried to find them from 10 years ago or something like that. There's a lot of trades between Mel and I. And when Mel comes back on, she'll have to remind me. But I want to say through January and February of just this year, our alerted trades are up and over 70%, if not higher, depending on the week. Okay. So pretty impressive stuff here. Leap trades, this is just one type of trade that I like to take. It gives you exact entry price. Why? Because again, we're using API trades. So again, these alerts are going straight to you within milliseconds as soon as I execute a trade. And you guys can see it's very robust. It gives you the exact time, the exact second, the price, the strategy, and so forth. We have results. I showed you my y-axis. Allows for freedom. I love that about any sort of trade, really, if it's lasting over a day or so. reduced time decay, and allows for hedging. Here's a trade that I took in September and I closed this year in January. This is RBLX. I got in at 385 and I sold at $10.25. Here's my Baba Leaps. You've probably seen some videos. Maybe you've heard me bragging about it, but you know what? At the end of the day, it's not bragging. We're actually pretty consistent with this type of movement. It's called passion. I'm so tired of seeing, uh, traders have a really hard time in the market and unable to identify these levels, right? So really what I'm doing here is I want to show you that I found this with our members here, our demand zone. We waited for price to come into this demand zone. Not only did I take options out of the money, I also took in the money options. The in the money options made so much money that they actually financed the out of the monies. Those out of the monies right now today are around 800%. They have 330 days until expiration, and they are absolutely free. Not only have we trimmed them, but we still have plenty left with plenty of time. And this is the kind of trade that I'm telling you, you can sit back and be zen-like. And the cool thing is you can also hedge these. And again, I'll show you that in my future classes. Here's DE Leaps. It doesn't stop at BABA. DE, I took these. These were 16 January 2026. Options from $11 to $25. I identified a demand zone. I got long, and these leaps made me over 126% and still had 330 days to go. Intel, not everybody's favorite stock. Matter of fact, this is kind of how it goes with supply and demand traders, and Melissa can attest to this, and any trader members who are here tonight. Most traders will come in and see the type of trades that we're taking, and they'll think to themselves, well, man, is this going to work? It's moving down. And I'll tell you, that's the advantage of supply and demand. So many traders, they tell you that prices are too high and they would like for them to get into a trade when price pulls back. But have you ever noticed when price pulls back, then they start to kind of back up on their story? Well, I don't know. It's a little fearful out there. The fear and greed is that extreme fear. Things are underneath the EMAs. Things fell under the 200 SMA, maybe the 50 SMA. I really don't want to touch it. But as I always explain to people, wouldn't you rather take your favorite stocks and buy them at a huge discount? That's exactly what we're doing when we're aligning ourselves at demand zones. This trade itself, not only did we trim, but is now and was 98% with 330 days left as well. Earnings trades. I love taking earnings trades. They don't all work out. Okay. Earnings trades, but they do trade between supply and demand. So what I simply do, and I will be hosting a class on this too, is I identify supply and demand, and then I create debit spreads most of the time around them. Rarely do I actually sell credit. I actually buy debits around supply and demand. And depending on the chart setup, depends on how much time. This is just a quick example. This is one that was alerted in the room. Not only did I go into this with puts, but I also bought calls. You'll notice that one of them is dated a little bit longer than the other. This is 17 April. This is 21 February. The total of these costs $428, whether it's, one contract each or you bought 10 contracts, it doesn't matter. Then once earnings hit, we hit our zone and we were able to sell the calls for $6.70. That's over 100%, and it paid for the total of the cost of this trade. I want to show you guys how to take earning trades and not feel fearful. I guarantee you that most of you have been taught your entire existence in the trading world not to take earnings trades because you don't know what's going to happen. I think that's kind of ridiculous. I really do. Because the truth of the matter is you don't know what's going to happen anytime you take a trade. As Mark Douglas would say, we're not gamblers. The difference between us is that we are aligning our sevens in the market and then we're putting our money in. Gamblers put their money in and then they look to see if the sevens are going to line up. I'm going to show you how supply and demand is the way to trade, whether it's options, equity, earnings, leaps, swing type trades like this meta trade. Not only is this an older trade from this year, but we actually took meta yesterday as well. Those contracts were $3 and some change. And today we had members selling them at $10+. But this trade is from February. Okay, right here, you guys can see February the 4th. And the reason why I put this one on here for you is for you to understand that all of my trades last a year or several weeks or several months. This trade itself lasted 1 day, and we got in at 385 and we got out at 645. Here's the future side of things. I love to trade futures. We start out every single morning with an ES and NASDAQ blueprint where I teach traders, whether they're future traders or want to be future traders, and most of them want to become future traders after seeing this very simple process of us using supply and demand and another strategy we like to use for the open. This is an example of micros. And just today, guys, I closed out micro position for almost 70 points in the futures, trading, supply, and demand. Short term, long term, micros, minis, it doesn't matter. If I can show you how to identify supply and demand, again, I promise you, you won't look at charts the same exact way. So the trendy lifestyle, I always think to myself, what trendy is a lifestyle. And it's just not my nickname. It's how I want people to be able to live their life. I want you to have that stroll on the beach. This is my grandson, by the way. His name's Elijah. He's 4 years old, and that's my wife. And this means the world to me as I get older, is I want to spend time with my family. I have three beautiful daughters who are all out, two of them out of college, one of them in college. And it's so important for me. And even though we have trades where we want to stick and focus on the 5 minute candles, there's a lot of trades that we present to you and we'll teach you how to find so that you can live your life between the take profit and the stop. So I want you to feel comfortable taking these trades and leave them for the day. And I want you to choose supply and demand. Whether you have a good strategy or not, I do believe this will make your strategy a lot better than what it currently is. So now Melissa is going to go over the type of trades that she takes, and I'm going to sit here and go through the slides. Go ahead, Melissa, and take that away.
Awesome. Thanks, John. Yeah, our win percentage, since you mentioned it, for February is over 80% currently. So we've had some fabulous winners. I was actually just looking at my week after today's close, and I know it hasn't been the easiest 3 days to trade, but I was very happy to see on closed trades, my account's up 10% in the last 3 days. And the crazy thing is, all of those were trades taken from demand or from the PMZ, which is an indicator that we'll talk about here in a minute. So, my account, I choose to trade a small account. All right. I often reset my account balance to $5,000 or $10,000. For that reason, I am trading at the money calls and puts because I am trading from a cash account, which allows me to day trade without being tied down by the pattern day trading rule. Okay. I day trade, including zero DTE. I also do swing trades and leap trades. And the thing is, with defined risk before a trade is ever taken, I'm able to trade the trendy levels on the chart. All right. I've talked a lot and about doubling my account, so I just decided I wanted to show you some time periods and a couple of those times that I've doubled my account with the alerted trades in the trendy room. This is from May to July of last year. We did an account challenge where I reset my account to $5,000. And you can see based on the P&L graph here, lower left to upper right, and this was a double in those 2 months. We were able to double our account. And the next slide is showing that from August to November of last year, which I don't know if you were trading during that time, but it was not the easiest months to trade last year. But we, again, all these trades were alerted in the trendy room, and I doubled the account again, right? For the second time in 6 months, I had a plan. I executed the plan. We managed the trades together, rinse and repeat. Trading is not easy, but trading supply and demand has made it much more profitable for me. And having names on my watch list that are outperforming the market is what made these quote unquote hard months to trade more profitable. And one of the classes that I am planning to do is focused on finding those names, both for day trades and swing trades and leap trades, and how I build my watch list out every week. Like John, you can see my P&L graph from May of last year to February of this year. Again, up, lower, left to upper right. Look, for me, guys, this is not my favorite part about trading. Honestly, it really is not. Making money is great, but my true passion and John's true passion really is in teaching you how to get this kind of consistency in the market. All right, I'm going to go over a few of my trade examples. Here's an example of a day trade that was executed in SPY. Look, I don't only trade to the upside, I also trade to the downside when the opportunity presents itself. And in this example with SPY, it was a quick $237 per contract simply by using the trendy indicator that I mentioned earlier, the PMZ. And I was in this trade for less than 2 minutes. When you have a level, you know where you want to go short, and you execute at that level, and you know where you're covering, it really is as easy as 1, 2, 3. All right, the next trade is also a day trade, and that trade is on Google. Not every trade happens within 2 minutes. Not all of my day trades do I hit target within 2 minutes, and not all of my trades produce a big profit gain. All right. This example on Google is one that I bought calls on Google above the PMZ for $3.30. It hit the first target where I had laid out the plan ahead of time to trim. I trimmed my profits, and then the remainder of the position was stopped at break even. That's the thing. They're not all huge winners. The important thing is to have that trading plan, execute the trading plan, and manage each and every trade according to the rules, regardless of the size of the profit that you have made. And I want to help you get better at that part of trading. All right, up next is a day trade on TSLL. I mentioned that I trade from a small account, right? I cannot, the way that I trade at the money calls or at the money puts, in my small account, I cannot afford to trade Tesla. All right, but I have found a way to trade Tesla via TSLL, which is affordable for my account. Look, I bought Tesla calls here, the $26 calls for 95 cents. Okay. No matter, well, most account sizes can afford $95 for one contract. In this case, I bought 5, so a little less than $500 total in this trade, and exited at target from $95, exited at $256. Notice the green zone, notice the red zone. Buying in demand and selling in supply. It's just crazy to me. That's 170% winner right there, right there. And we'll talk more about the trendy cloud that you see on that chart, but that cloud allowed us to stay in that trade all the way to target. All right, now I'm going to talk about some swing trades. I spend the weekend going over all of different names on my watch list. I choose 6 to 8. I narrow it down to 6 to 8, and then I put these charts in the room way before the week has started so that you will know exactly what I am looking to swing trade. Here's an example of TOST. TOST, we bought in at $2.91 a contract, so $291 a contract, trimming, taking profits along the way, paying ourselves right along the way, and then exiting at supply again at $575 a contract. That there was almost 100% winner and $284 worth of profit. And that trade lasted for 3.5 days. I will take it. This is another strategy that we teach, John and I teach in the room, called our ACDC strategy, and it is quickly becoming one of the favorites. All right, look, I don't win every trade, all right? But the important thing is I have a plan, right? When to cut a trade because I was wrong, all right? I can admit it. So here's an example of that on SOUN. I bought in at $2.08 a contract. It didn't work. I exited at $1.11 a contract, losing $97 a contract. You know what my philosophy is about losers? On to the next trade. It happens, but I'm okay with that. You know, the Zen state John mentions? That is the goal, my friends. That's the goal right there. All right, let's talk about UNFI. Not a name that makes most people's watch list, I'll admit. Maybe you haven't never heard of United National Foods, but I like trading it. And I really like trading it when price comes into a demand zone and I'm able to exit at target. So we bought contracts on UNFI for $2.29, exiting at target at $4.60. That is just one of many examples. We were in this trade for 6 days, and one of many examples, we were collecting $231 a contract at target on a trade that lasted for a week. And like John, I also leap trade and have an account that is separate and completely just leap trades. Here's an example of a Dollar General trade that I gave the trade plan ahead of time, as always. We got into the $130 calls. This is out of the money calls. I will do that for my leap trades because I have plenty of time. I bought a contract at $1.76, and then we added three more at $1.04, and we were able to trim, right? These are notes taken directly out of the room so that you could read them. We were able to trim two of the four contracts at first target. And of course, we still have this trade on, as well as this week, I was able to trim equity because we trade equity also in the room. I was able to trade equity that bought at about $66, and we trimmed that equity at almost $80. So trading leaps, trading equity, swings, day trading. We seriously do it all in the room. Everything is alerted, and not that's great, but the important part is we teach you how to do the same thing.
100%. And Mel, thank you so much. I think that you guys can see, I'm sitting here too. I'm immersed in what she's saying. What I love is that Melissa is able to just stay super disciplined. Even, going through these slides, she's very detailed, making sure that you understand everything that she's doing. One thing that I want to point out, Mel, before I move on, is you have to understand that these levels are identified before price gets there. This is a huge difference from most strategies, and this really is what the edge is all about. So in these examples, you got to understand in the morning, on the weekends, Mel does a lot of chart work, and she's letting people know that, hey, when price gets here, this is my plan. And you'll notice, this is a great example right here on this leap trade, that she has a starter, and then she has three areas within the demand zone that she's willing to add to. And then what happens, sometimes you don't get to those ads, but we get the pop, and then it maybe gets into the trim area, and that's why you see her trimming. Okay. So please understand that that is for me the big edge. Now, I was going down through a couple of these questions, and we'll get to your questions here soon if Marza and support has not answered them. But one thing that I saw that really stood out to me is we had a question: is supply and demand the same as support and resistance? And I have to tell you, that's like one of my big pet peeves. Is it has nothing to do with support and resistance. We are identifying, folks, big buy and sell blocks in the market. This is not a line that we just draw on a chart that where candles meet. Big difference. So you do trade them differently, and you treat them with a lot more respect. So here's the problem with traditional strategies. If 95% of traders are failing, I've always said this, and 95% of them are using the same indicators, then what is their edge? And it doesn't have to be indicators. Maybe they're all using the same type of strategy that is very normalized in the market. Your competition is able to squash you, right? Like I hear about a lot of free indicators, and sometimes they work really well, but most indicators are moving. The beautiful thing about supply and demand, it doesn't move. You identify it, and then you allow the catalyst in the market, as I was saying before, like the news catalyst, to push price into the supply and demand zones. So moving indicators versus supply and demand, two totally different things. One has a bigger edge than the other. Most of all, they just need too many variables before executing. As I said before, and I'm going to show you one more time, if you're getting in a position or you're not getting in a position, this is us in most cases, and we are trimming here. A lot of traders, I shouldn't say most, but a lot of traders are looking for things like, are we above this level? Is there unusual option activity? What does this service that I subscribe to say about this level? What is going on in the market, right? There's all these variables, whereas one zone can allow you to understand what your risk is going to be, the difference between the top and the bottom of the zone, where your take profit is. And once you understand that, you don't need all this other noise, as I would call it. So most of, again, supply and demand zones don't move. Please allow to understand that this plan is in advance. And for me, that was a huge eye opener when I first started. So the main problem with trading mentors, I always got to hit this slide, folks, is that why are we different, right? I can tell you with my experience and what built the fire in order for me to create my own business was the lack of transparency. I was in 9 to 10 different services before I created my own business. And there was just so much going on that just really got under my skin. There was false hope. People didn't have a strategy. Like they had a strategy, but when you got into trades, you realize they're not using their strategy, which can be super frustrating when you're losing money. Students not being able to follow the process or alerts. The alerts just were difficult to follow. They weren't very transparent. Students not being able to follow a process because the process didn't exist and the mentor is still trying to find a process. The mentor keeps finding new processes. Supply and demand, everything that we use, Mel and I, we've been using since day one. We haven't changed a thing. Not actually taking the trades or using paper trade accounts. Melissa and I are linked to our Thinkorswim account, folks. That means real money, not paper trade accounts, API that's sent to you within milliseconds so that you can understand that we are doing exactly what we say. And believe me, this was something of passion that I had to find, and I found a developer. They took care of it, and we've been doing it ever since. So I want to provide a level of teaching to you guys that I paid the big bucks for. Okay. And when I say that, I use my GI Bill from the 21 years of service that I gave to the Air Force. They allowed me to use my GI Bill to attend a school where I learned about trading, supply and demand. But then I took it into my own hands and made it a lot easier and simpler for folks to understand. And quite frankly, just a way better process. So what are your key takeaways for tonight? Supply and demand will give you an edge, folks. Consistency and process has grown Melissa's account 7 times. It's also allowed me to be where I am today as well. And trading is a lot better with a supportive community. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is not your Discord room. Simpler trading is on a whole different level. Sure, Melissa and I are pretty awesome. We have an amazing process, but simpler trading also is amazing. You're in an environment where education is paramount. So what can you expect from the Trendy community? Again, well, the best community I've ever come across. That means my traders, just our traders who are in the room, our actual members are really good at trading, and we're all actually using the same process. That's really important. Real-time alerts, as I said, API, we're leading in that industry. You know the plan before the trade is executed. We've shown you examples of that. Family-like atmosphere with supportive members ready to help. That is probably really, really important to us because you guys are family. You know that. So I know that you're ready to trade. And as I've said before, I've been leading you guys into this for probably the last 2 weeks. So if you're looking for a proven system, you guys see the proof of concept. You want to add supply and demand into your trading. You want a repeatable, transparent process that takes the guesswork out. Then this is the deal that we have for you guys. Now, before we move over here, I want you guys to take a look at this. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, we're just going to not look at this for a second. Okay. Supply and demand class. That's the Saturday class. That's about 3 to 4 hours. Okay. This is a new and improved class. It's the new 25 edition to supply and demand. Then you get the trendy trading room for an entire year. And then you get the 12 exclusive workshop sessions, 6 from me, 6 from Melissa. And it's 13. This is not including Saturday. And I'm going to give you all the titles to those here in a second. The price here is $21.97. The value, they're coming in just under $5,000. So you're saving a lot of money here. All right. But I also have to give you what I feel is, I feel like the value is so important for you to understand how to educate yourself. And the tools we're going to give you, I feel super confident it's all you're going to need in order to be a more confident and consistent trader. Okay. Now, this one, the annual renews at $19.97 annually. And I'll tell you, just for the Saturday class and the 12 exclusive work sessions, this is a huge deal. So look at it this way. You're either getting a whole year with us for free, API alerts, education every morning, or you're paying $21.97 for 12 robust classes, a 4-hour intro into and really a really deep dive into supply and demand on Saturday, not this Saturday, but I believe it's March the 8th or March the 6th. You'll have to remind me, Mel. And then if this is something
March
that you're
8th.
March 8th, thank you. And then over here on the basic, you're looking at $497. You get a supply and demand class on Saturday, and you're getting a trial that automatically renews for $297 monthly. Now, if you look at the price of the monthly and add up this, it's way more beneficial for you to be only concentrating on the elite, folks. On the pro, this is a quarterly. You get the supply and demand class, and you get the quarterly. Notice that the basic and the pro have nothing to do with the 12 exclusive classes. As I said, my focus and Melissa's focus is teaching you. To me, it would be a disservice if you did not sign up for these 12 exclusive workshop sessions. Okay. All right. So if you're a subscribing member already, then you get this deal here. You get the same thing, but you're going to notice it's $19.97 opposed to the 21. All right. Still the same value, same idea. You're looking at supply and demand class on a Saturday. You're looking at the annual subscription, and you get the 12 exclusive workshop sessions. As I've told you guys before, for me, if I could go back, if there's one thing I could change, I would not go to any of those 9 to 10 services that I was in. I would not use news, noise, all that kind of nonsense to trade. And if I could have found supply and demand trading in the beginning, I would have saved thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Believe you me. So again, guys, this is going to be your limited time offer and your elite package right here. Again, $21.97. Elite member, $19.97. That means you're already a subscriber. You're saving a ton of money. You get all of this, plus you get Melissa and I every single morning, Monday through Friday. Not only that, but I do broad market analysis over the weekend. Melissa's updating her charts over the weekend. It's nonstop work. If there's anybody in here that's currently in our service, they will tell you right off the bat that we put the time in. Okay. Look, I'm at an age, Melissa's at the age, we're mature. We're here to work for you. I'm not out taking care of little odds and ends every single day. We're showing up every single day for you, and we can promise you that. So your 12 exclusive workshops, basically what this comes down to is that we are holding a class twice a week. Isn't that right, Mel? So if you want to explain this, Mel, you can do so, but these are the sessions. Go ahead.
So the way the workshops are going to work, guys, is there will be a workshop every week. All right. So March 13th and March 20th are the workshops for March. That follows the first very immersive class on March 8th. And then you can see 4 classes in April, 4 classes in May, and followed by 2 classes in June. So John will be teaching on everything from trading futures using PMZ and zones to how to trade earnings or don't be spooked by SPX, right? Learn how to master it with confidence. Those are just some of his classes he's going to teach. I'm going to basically give you my exact what I did the first 30 days that I mentioned that I more than doubled my account. I'm going to go step by step on how I did that and the keys to my success. I'm also going to do a deep dive into the basics of options trading. Maybe you are new to trading options. I know when I was new, being educated on the very basics was very important. So that will also be a class. And of course, probably the most important thing of all is I'm going to teach a class on how I develop a trade plan and then how I stay disciplined in trading that plan. And those are just a few examples. You can read them on there, but once a week, we are doing these on Thursdays from 1 to 2 p.m. Central Time, and all of the classes will be recorded, meaning for now and forever, you will have the classes that you can go back and rewatch if you need to. So, super cool there.
Yeah, exactly, Mel. And again, guys, so a couple things. These will be slide presentations. And I wanted them to be during the day because Mel and I want to be able to show you real-time action using charts that are moving and so forth. And I think that's really imperative to the overall proof of concept that we'll be teaching. So we'll go through slides and then we'll use live sessions if the material calls for a live session on the charts. I think it's so important. And that way, also after a long day of trading, you don't and I don't have to, take time away from what you're doing there at home. And again, as Mel said, you will have access to that. It will be recorded and that will be a part of your education. So again, guys, and this doesn't even include the Saturday class, which is almost 4 hours, just kind of depends on how fast we get through it. But the Saturday class itself, I'm telling you, I know how to take something and compact it and make it, easier for you to understand. You're getting, in my opinion, I spent almost 100 grand, all right, to learn about some basics of supply and demand, folks, which is pretty crazy if you think about it. All right. You're looking at an entire year with us for a very inexpensive price. Okay. And you're able to learn everything that I feel like I learned in 4 hours. And it doesn't stop there. That's just the intro into everything that we're doing. And then we're going to break out those sessions. If you want to see and I always say this, like, let our members speak for us, folks. Again, where the trendy room, the SPX room is like, the popular rooms here at Simpler. We do very, very well. Our community is very active. And I believe that this is a great price. And if you're trying to come up on your renewal, which I'm sure many of you are, then this is a great price to get right back in there. Now, I'm getting questions about indicators and so forth. Indicators, again, this is not what this is about. We're not here to sell indicators, but if at any point in the room you're interested and you see the proof of concept and so forth, then obviously you guys can dive into that. And a lot of our members will speak very highly of them. And this offer here that we're showing you does not include any sort of indicator. Our job here is to teach, is to show you how to take these trades, how to identify these trades, how to use Fibonacci's, how to identify zones, how to take options, whether you're advanced or, as Melissa was saying, you're new. There's a lot of stuff we're going to teach you that perhaps you're not aware of. And even if you've been with us, this is all new material, and we can't wait to basically teach you. And again, just to reiterate one more time, very important to understand, if I were in your shoes, and I say this from the bottom of my heart, supply and demand is the way that you should be looking at the market. Look at this as a tuition to learn, to continue learning. If you're with us, to continue learning. Okay. And then listen, if maybe you're looking at, you don't want to pay for it up full, you can actually use this right here, which is interest-free payments with PayPal credit. So you could take that $2,000 and put it on a 0% interest for 6 months. Okay. And right here, you guys, you could see that simplertrading.com/demand/25. All right. So if you want more information, 512-266-8659. We have an amazing support group where you can call in, or you can even email support@simplertrading.com. All right. All right, Mel, if you want, we can see if we'll come over here if there's any questions or anything that you feel like we need to. I'm trying to monitor here.
Yeah, Greg asks, are they live during market hours? If so, how long? 1 hour each day? Greg, you, we are live in the room, basically all day if the market is open. There's going to be exceptions, of
Yeah.
course. Maybe both of us have something going on and we might be out for an hour or two, but you will not be disappointed with the amount of time John and I spend in the room trading
Yeah.
and educating.
I don't
That,
think, Mel, I don't think we've ever had a complaint ever that we're
uh,
not around
no.
enough. Yeah. Yeah.
Clyde is asking for you to show the PayPal slide again, please. There you go.
Yeah. This is the PayPal. I think this is pretty cool. I didn't know this existed. When I owned my business, I never offered this to any of our members. I didn't know that it actually existed, but pretty neat.
Robert is asking if this can be used for prop firm trading. You want to answer that for
Oh,
futures,
yeah,
John?
for future. So we have several people in the trendy room who have said that they have completely turned their futures trade around and have definitely passed their evals. I don't know if any of you are in here right now who are currently doing that in our room, but yes, the futures trades that we call out every single morning using you'll see our intraday strategy is very successful and in my opinion very easy to understand as well. Are all trades shared with the alert? So the API alert for Thinkorswim through Schwab now does not read future alerts. Now, I stand behind this. The reason why I don't alert future trades is because I am live in the morning about 30 minutes, would you say, Mel? Maybe 45 minutes, just honed in on ES and NASDAQ.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
they're just very, once you learn the process, like I get it, but once you learn the process, you understand how easy it is to execute the future trades. Um, I'll stand behind it. Like it's crazy to me that there's anyone, unless we're swing trading futures. Okay. If we're swing trading futures, you're going to know if I'm jumping in the green zones and I'm closing out at the red zones and so forth. But your intraday trades like ES futures, if you're looking for 5 to 10, depending on how many or the volatility, depending on how much volatility we have in the market, if you're looking for the typical 5 to 10 points, very, very easy to make that in the morning. On the ES, NASDAQ, same thing.
The weekly classes, the workshops, Tony is asking, those are from 1 to 2 p.m. on Thursdays.
Yeah, and the first question I just want to make sure. So our classes, the time. So yes, we're in front of the mic and trading with you guys a lot, but also the time for the classes. I think that in my head, I want the classroom environment to be about 90 minutes, and it could last longer. I talk a lot, I teach a lot, so I'm going to say 90 minutes for the classes. But again, they can go over. I'm not on any kind of time crunch, if you will, while we're teaching during the day.
Yeah, and guys, just so we're transparent and completely clear, if you are already a member of the Trendy Room, those workshops will not occur in the Trendy Room. They will occur just for the people who purchase the classes.
That package, right?
Yeah. Let's see. Um, Todd is asking when the classes have to be purchased by. And I don't know the answer to that, Todd, but if
Well,
you call
yeah.
customer support, they will know all of those answers. Henry is asking, I'm not sure that I understand the question, but how do you trade with patterns needs to be transparent?
How do I trade with the patterns? Yeah, so I mean, we're going to teach you the pattern to find the structure, the supply and demand zones. Yeah, in the class. And let's see, I'm new to option. What type of options do you trade? So Melissa, primarily, well, I would say all of your option trades are straight up buy to open, the call on the put side.
100%,
Yeah.
yes.
And for me, I do have some complex options, but most of the complex options that I take are in my SPX room, not to be confused with this room. In this room, I'll do some debit spreads, primarily, debit spreads, butterflies, but mostly just straight up calls and puts. Yeah, SPX room, a little bit different, a little bit more complex. Yeah, market got smoked this week, but overall, I think we had some really good trades. Any of you not in our room right now, if you're wanting to know really quickly, what I like to do is pull up our room just so that you guys can see it. If I can, let's see where to go. Oh, maybe it's because I'm not sharing. Give me 1 second here. There it is. Okay. So I want to share this. You guys can see the trendy room here. I just want to go over that. Again, most of you guys are in this room watching us right now, but this is the trendy room. This is where our trades come in and out. Right here, you can see Melissa today got into, it looks like a $305 call in McDonald's. This is the alert section. And so again, our API is patched straight to the software of our room here at Simpler Trading. We don't have to do anything and it gets directly sent here within milliseconds.
And
Uh,
that alert, John,
uh-huh.
that came through to the room while I was at the doctor having surgery.
Yeah.
So
So you had a limit
everyone
and
knew the plan. They knew where
right.
I was getting in, and everyone got the alert. I didn't have to be at my computer to type that out. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's the beauty of it, right? And then down here is the chat room, right in here. Um, Off topic section here. And then over here, this is where every morning, if I wanted to share my screen, you're going to see the live screen in this section. This is our trading room live session schedule. And these are all that pertain to, what you need to. We have learning videos, future charts. We have indicators explained. We have the 2025 outlook, my open positions,
Will
Melissa's
you
trader
click
notes and
on
journal.
mine just
Yeah.
so they can see? I
Yep.
mean, there's what standing orders I have for leap trades, guys. That's all there for everyone to see. These charts right here that he's scrolling on, those were given over the weekend for this coming week, and I believe we've taken about 5 of those trades.
Mhm.
So if they set up, they're taken every time. There's the McDonald's chart. They knew where everyone in the room knew where I was getting in before I got in.
Yeah, and if yeah, and I can open this image in a new tab and you can look even closer. You just click on it like that. And this is what she's saying. She had a limit order in when price came down into this starter position. And then as soon as that was executed, it was sent over here while she's at the doctor's office, here within milliseconds, which is really cool. All
I
right.
mean, you just won't see this kind of stuff, guys, in other places. It's
Yeah.
just every single, I mean, all the notes, always. We want you to know what we're doing long before we ever do it. And communication is super important to us.
Very important. We 100% care about your success. Look, I have a very deep passion about this stuff, and you'll hear me talk about it constantly. I'm sick and tired of people have getting into, these I wouldn't even call them mom and pop shops, but like the smaller Discord rooms that surfaced during COVID. Everybody learned how to trade overnight. You just, you learn how to lose money pretty quickly. And, that's the whole key is for you to come in here and make sure that you're educated. And listen to me, even if you think you don't have time, I promise you, I was active duty in the Air Force and I was in charge of a lot of stuff. I still made time. You know what I mean? You will find time. We will record these. If for some reason you can't make it, who cares? You purchase it, it's yours. You can watch it on your own time. You can come in. The fact that we give you charts before they set up gives you time at night or even in the morning before the market opens to know exactly what we want to do. Of course, listen, I'm going to have some random trades here and there, but I'll try to obviously update you if I do take a trade on the whim and it's something that I didn't prepare in advance. But most of our trades, our traders already know about because we're talking about them, we're reviewing them, and so forth.
Yeah, William's got it figured out. William says, if I understand correctly, you should probably be upselling this and that additional training is almost free if we're going to renew because we would renew for 1997 anyway. You got it,
Yes.
William. That's
Yeah.
what we
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And again, I mean, I'm going to say it one more time, Mel. There's a lot of services and a lot of stuff out there that made me passionate of why I'm so passionate about transparency, about education, is because if I could do it all over, I wish that I had two people in my life that cared as much. I really do. Now, believe me, when I learned about supply and demand, I met some awesome mentors who I still stay in touch with today. They were my Melissa and John. They made me open my eyes. And it's not every day that you come across something like that, you know? So I'm happy to be here in front of an audience and be able to say that with confidence that I do believe if you're here for a reason and we want to teach you. You're going to get education out of this. Listen, 78, what'd you say, 80% in February, Mel? Win
Yeah,
rate?
it's over 80%, John.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I mean, look, you're going to see winners, but that's not what this is about. And you're going to see all those trades, but that's not what this is about. You're going to see that, plus you're going to get an education so that if for some reason you decide not to be with the community in a year, you'll at least know what the hell you're doing. And that's what I care about.
Yeah, John, alerted trades this week with you and I, um, profits more than paid for the elite
Yeah,
package.
100%. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I'm not going to sit up here and guarantee anything because profits aren't guaranteed. But what I do guarantee is you're going to get two mentors that have a process that we're going to teach you that'll blow your socks off if you don't know anything about supply and demand. And it's going to be worth every penny. Yes, and the charts are in there in the morning as well, Andy. Yep.
Mm.
So David Heaton, you do not need indicators. So you do not need the indicators. So um, what we have is what we call trendy edges. Trendy edges help identify the playing field of supply and demand zones. So if you already know how to manually find them, you don't need the indicator. Indicators are a convenience. Okay. Indicators are a convenience. So it's really convenient for me. I'm very transparent. Like I was doing this for years and I'm like, I'm tired of looking. I want something I can wake up and just push a button and boom, it's right there. So that's where the indicators come in, but you do not need indicators. Matter of fact, Melissa, it was about a year ago, I think Mel said, I'm taking everything off the charts just to prove a point to all of our members. And she traded, was very successful, and showed everybody, hey, I can do this without doing so. And we already know that. You know what I mean? Another thing I want to say is once you guys sign up and we start this, it's pretty much setting us up. Challenges are funny. Last time that Mel and I did a challenge, we grew the account, what, 80%, the portfolio?
Yes.
Okay. And that was in a month.
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
Not saying that's going to happen again, but what I'm telling you is that um, I treat every month as a challenge, right? So you're coming in perfectly right after February, which historically is not a great month. It really isn't. Like it's a horrible month, and I've been saying that for many, many years. It can be really horrible. This is a great time for you. So if you're having a hard time and you want to reset and you want that reset, you're coming in right at March, we're going to treat it just like a challenge. Melissa's going to be teaching you everything, talking about how she journals. I'm going to be teaching every time that I'm on the mic. I'm going to show you how I trade and so forth. And it's a great start for you for a new 2025 if you're having a hard time. Yeah, and if you want to trade futures, I mean, we trade futures every morning, and I'm doing a futures class. If you didn't see that, that's part of my class, and I've been asked to do that for so long now. So I'm teaching you guys how to trade futures as well. What if you're in the 30-day trial period? That's a great question, Fernando. I like that question. So if Mirza or somebody could ask or answer that, I have no idea. If they're in a 30-day trial, can they get the member pricing?
I don't believe so, John. I think they have to be a subscribing member, but that would be a call to customer support for sure. Richard, this class, Richard asks, is the class different from last year? We didn't do a class last year on just supply and demand.
So I might be
Uh,
talking about the original,
yeah, it
when we
was,
first came to Simpler from
yeah.
Trendy. It's going to be different. It's not going to be the same slides or anything like that. So I'll be creating a whole new robust class. So it will be different. And here's the thing. We're always learning. Like I feel like Melissa and I, even though, I think we do well, we're getting better all the time. So the class will be different. I'll talk differently. I could tell already Melissa's been with me for over 2 years. She's so much more confident, speaks very clearly, feels very good about, supply and demand. We're just two totally different machines two
Oh
years
my
later.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, night and day for me, guys. Night and day difference.
And AJ from the SPX room, great session. Have you thought about developing an indicator for multi-time frame supply and demand zones? I mean, the edges are multi-time frame. So the trendy edges are 4 different colors, and those colors identify the time frame of the supply and demand zone. So we already have that. And Kevin makes a really good point. Kevin, thanks for being here tonight, man. He says future charts with indicators are up in the room all day. So you folks can see them as well as Mel chooses 3 underlinings that are setting up and reviews them all before the market opens. So when you say like, hey, do you have to have the indicators? Again, the answer is no. You literally can see everything before the market opens, or if you have time, you just watch the live charts. And it's basically like your chart. So you don't need the indicator. Fernando, you call your simpler rep and they extend your subscription. What time are the classes on these days? Once again, so the time on the days is it 1 o'clock Central
Yes, 1 to
on
2
Thursdays?
Central. hmm
And I love Thursdays. It's
Here's
Friday Eve.
whoops. Here's a great question, John, that you would have to answer. Clyde is asking, how was trading this system in March 2020?
March in 2020. That's a great question.
COVID.
So, yeah, during COVID, well, I mean, it was the same exact way. If you remember, I clearly remember because I was in positions. And if you remember, we had like the big sudden drop and then it kind of bounced. And then if you thought it was going to be a relief bounce, you woke up and we were in a situation where the market had totally collapsed and everything, circuit breakers, if you were stuck, you were stuck if you weren't in puts. But what we did immediately is that we went to the higher time frames, the quarterly time frames, and looked for demand zones on the high time frame. Because what happens in those sort of events is that your smaller demand zones are going to get broken. And I always say that there's 1 to 2 times per year that we have an event that can slice through those smaller demand zones and go to the bigger demand zones. So it's no different. I'm super chill when the market pulls back, whether it's COVID or anything like that. My process is very, very straightforward. I'm looking for a demand zone. I'm looking for price to get there, and then we're taking action.
I wish I knew how to find quarterly demand zones in March of 2020. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, many people wish that they could have for sure. Hey, if you clicked on the link and the price seems less, then maybe that's a good thing. How do you purchase the indicator? All that's on the website. So if you become a member, what I would tell you guys, I'm not trying to sell the indicators to you right now, but if you come into the room tomorrow and you're hanging out and you want to, go around the room, check out the dashboard, look at what the indicators are all about, 100%, do your thing. They speak for themselves. I don't need to sell them to you.
Jim asked, will he be able to find supply and demand zones himself after the first month of classes and then no longer going to classes?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
Jim asked if he would be able to find supply and demand zones himself after going to the first month of classes and then not need any other classes.
I'm going to give you my honest answer, Jim. I think that people should be able to find a supply and demand zone within 2 weeks. That my thing to you would be, the structure is fairly easy. It takes repetition. A month, I think, is enough time. When I first learned how to find supply and demand, it only took me like a week. But my passion might have been different than some people in here. Like I had a job, I was in the Air Force, I was busy. I think I was coming up on retirement. But I still found time where I basically secluded myself, came into an office, and I just looked at the screens and I practiced over and over and over. So I feel confident that you can find supply and demand. But again, as I said earlier in the session, supply and demand is easy to identify, but where I feel the value is the psychology. And I'm not going to sit here and guarantee that you can think like the big money within a month. Okay. That's why we have the elite package for a year so that you can listen to Mel and I every single day and start to have the aha moments that a lot of people don't see in the first week or two. You know, I'm sure we're going to impress you with a lot of stuff, but I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say that you're going to be a full-fledged supply and demand trader a couple weeks later after you come in here because you're going to have to unlearn some bad habits. I guarantee you. Can this be in conjunction with passing prop firm challenges? I think we already answered that, right? We did. And yes, it can.
Yeah, I think we went through all those
Okay.
questions and on the
All right.
Q&A tab, they're all answered, sir.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, this took 1 hour and 27 minutes, which is actually kind of long for me, I think, but it was absolutely amazing. I feel like you guys were really tuned in. I feel like they're getting their questions answered, but I don't want to shut this off too quick. So I need Mirza or the support team to make sure that we're getting people's questions answered. I want to make sure that everybody's taken care of before we jump off of here from a support side. So Mirza,
Cody
whoever is in
says
here.
totally.
Yeah, so Brandon Wendell is a friend of mine, guys. Yep. I'll follow him on X. Him and I speak. He's never actually taught me, Stefan. He's never actually taught me like one-on-one, but he wasn't one of my mentors. But him and I do speak and we are friends.
Vincent says, please choose your coffee mug carefully tomorrow.
I know. Yeah.
Inside joke, you'll understand. Come join us in the room.
Yeah, I will.
Yes, Carl, the Elite is available to you even if you're on a 30-day trial. Absolutely.
And I don't know if I heard from Mirza. Mirza, are we good? Can I exit? I just want to make sure everyone's taken care of. Last time we had a webinar, I felt like we cut it off, even though we've been here for a bit. I want to make sure people,
Ooh, here's a good
you know,
question.
yeah.
John asked, how do we join you tomorrow in the room?
Mm. So basically what happens is you come into the website. So I'm going to bring this over real quick, Mel. All right, assuming you come in. These are all the different services that we have here. But all you basically do, what you'll see on your dashboard is when you log in, you're going to see this room right here called Trendy Trading. And you simply just click. It's going to log you in. And this is what you're going to see. From here, what you want to do, all right, is in the morning, you're going to notice on the screen section that me and Melissa are sharing screens. Okay. All you have to do is just be present. You're watching this, you understand where your alerts are. These are your friends in here. And I'm telling you guys, this is not, I say this a lot because I feel like a lot of people have used Discord rooms, Mel. This is not a Discord room, not a bunch of like chaos and like people talking nonsense. And that happens a lot in Discord rooms. It's very mature. And over here, we are going to have our live charts. And that's all you have to do. This is your presentation. It really is simpler. Oh, here you
There
go.
you go.
So Mel is sharing this right now. So here's a great example. If I were in
Here's our
here,
gold trade this morning, if
yeah, all
y'all
I
want
have
to
to do is
see.
double click here, and you'll notice it'll take just a few seconds to buffer out. It'll get really nice and clear. There it goes. I can see everything on here. And I know exactly, did you take gold down here, Mel, or what?
No, long
Oh,
above
okay.
PMZ.
Oh, she went long above the PMT. You can see she's already trimmed, and exited the trade from here. Yep. So she shares 3 charts every day with her plan. I share the ES and the NASDAQ futures with a plan every day. And I also go over names that I'm interested in. Okay. Jeff Larson, welcome to the team. Appreciate it, man.
John,
Yeah.
for those that are new that have signed up tonight, please make sure and join us 30 minutes
30 minutes before the
before.
market open. 30 minutes before the market open. All right. This is time to be, you come in, listen to us, it's business, right? So you come in, listen to us. If you're on your way to work, put us on your, put us on your radio or whatever you're listening to. If you're at work, put an earphone in so your boss doesn't see it. Listen to us on the side. I mean, I know I'm biased and all, but I sincerely haven't seen any better way to hang out while trading.
SPX alerts. You got a question about our SPX alerts showing?
So SPX is in a totally different room. So let's go back to simpler trading right here. This is we are only right now talking about the trendy trading room and education. This is not a webinar for me to talk about the SPX room, but I have an SPX alert service where it's alerts only. Yep. And these are both trendy trading rooms, this one and this one here.
Clyde, if you signed up for the elite package or whichever package and the March 8th class, it'll be listed under the classrooms section. So back on that main page that John was on before, can you go back to the main simpler trading
Yeah,
page,
yep,
John?
yep. And then I'm trying to see here. I don't want to miss this person's question. Somebody, Jag, my eyes are bad.
That's the
Jagdish.
one I asked.
Okay, okay,
Or yeah, you already answered that.
okay.
See up where your name will be up there with the little man figure that you see up at the top right. If you
Right here.
click there, you're going to see classes, your classes, right?
Nope, right here.
There you go.
Dashboard,
Yep.
my classes
Yep.
is right
And
here.
you'll click there and then you'll see that's where the March 8th class will be.
Right. So this is your dashboard. Just look at this as your main hub. Everything you need is from here. You can look in, and also see our
Oh, look,
indicators.
there it
That's it.
is.
Yep, it's right here. So all that stuff will be there for you. And don't worry, don't over excite yourself. I want to welcome you. Melissa wants to welcome you. Don't be in a huge rush. When you get in the room tomorrow, ask questions. We're here to support you. And just, take it easy. Tomorrow's Friday Eve. Come in 30 minutes before the market, listen to it, well, maybe an hour before. 30 minutes will be live, and then we'll just kind of go from there. All right.
Awesome. I think
So
that's a wrap, sir.
yeah, I think it's a wrap, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I haven't even had lunch today, I don't think. And so, my wife wanted to bring me some dinner, and I was like, babe, I got to do the webinar. So I need to get off of here and eat, and then just kind of chill out for a bit. It's been an awesome day. It's been a pleasure serving you, Melissa. Amazing job. Everybody, thank you for coming out and supporting us. If you're already Trendy members, we really, really, really appreciate you. I know I do. And for anybody that's new here, thank you for at least giving us your attention. I hope that we answered all your questions. If we didn't, find me out on X. I'm on Twitter. Just look for Trendy John, TR3NDYJON. You can just send me a message. Make sure it's me. I have a lot of imposters trying to act like me. Make sure it's me. Okay. I will never try to sell you anything on X. All right. I really, really appreciate you guys. I'm going to go ahead and X out of here. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.